What's up, everybody? Ron Harris here, MD, online editor. Happy Friday. Before we get started, I want to remind you, please turn on your notifications, not only on YouTube, on your settings, but also on your phone. We're going to be going live multiple times tomorrow and the next day, Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be here in Boston. We also have AJ Kelly Robert in Cluj, Romania for the Masters Olympia. It's going to be doing interviews, wrap up, all kinds of good content. So make sure you have your settings tuned to live. Okay, now let's get into it, guys. I love to talk about training. Of course, I love covering the sport and the contests and all that, but my passion is training. I've been training for 40 years, love it. Train every 3 out of every 4 days. Something that came up, I was looking into the old heavy duty style, Mike Mentzer training. Had to look into that for an article, and it brought back some memories of my own experiences with HIT training. So I'll share those briefly, and then I want to go to you guys, because I'm curious how many of you have had experience with either the old Arthur Jones style HIT training, Mike Mentzer's version heavy duty, Dorian Yates blood and guts. I would even throw DC training into that, Dante's. You know, the very brief, very high intensity training, low volume. Very, very different from what most bodybuilders do. Most bodybuilders do high volume and train, anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week on average, I think most bodybuilders. So let me get into my story and then we'll get to you. So fall of 1987, last century. Yeah, it was another century, another millennium. I had been messing around with weights all through high school, which for me was 4 years. Actually, even a little before that. I'd been pretty regular, but didn't know what the hell I was doing. Didn't train legs, didn't train back, didn't know what to do. I was doing a lot of at-home bench presses. I had a curl bar. I did some curls, figured out how to do tricep extensions. But yeah, it was very far from a bodybuilding routine. So when I got to my first year of college, I drove all the way out to California, University of California, Santa Barbara. And I had bought some Joe Weider weight gainer powder or something over the summer, Dynamic Muscle Builder. And you sent away for a free copy of a magazine, Flex magazine. So I got Flex magazine in the mail. My mother forwarded it to me. So I had been in California in college, maybe a week, maybe not even a week. I don't even know if my classes had started yet. Came in the mail, opened it up, and I was like, oh my God, I got to do this. I want to look like these guys. Because I'd seen magazines, but I never really looked through them. I just kind of glanced at them. This time I looked at all the pictures. There was a big spread on Sean Ray there, who hadn't even turned pro at that point yet. He would very soon. Anyway, I was like, I got to learn all I can about bodybuilding. I'm going to be a bodybuilder. I want to know how they train, all this stuff. Nutrition didn't come around to my way of thinking for a while. But I went to this bookstore. It was off campus. Want to see what could I find. So I saw 2 bodybuilding books immediately caught my attention. One was the Nautilus bodybuilding book by Arthur Jones. Arthur Jones was the inventor of the Nautilus line of machines. And the Nautilus Advanced bodybuilding book by his protege, Dr. Ellington Darden, PhD. Of course, I bought them both and read them. I think I stayed up all night reading them. I'm pretty sure I did. And I immediately started implementing the routines in the Nautilus Advanced bodybuilding book. And I had already been convinced, brief workouts, I think I was doing like two sets for a body part, training like 3 days a week. And the Nautilus machines, it had to be Nautilus machines because Arthur Jones, he really pushed the Nautilus machines as being vastly superior to free weights. They were obsolete. They were these like caveman tools. It was basically not much better than rocks and logs. So anyway, I start doing that and I adopted that style of training. And I did that for at least 1.5 years. And I would only train on Nautilus equipment. Wouldn't touch anything else. Nautilus to me was the most advanced technology of weight training equipment the world had ever seen, would ever see. So anyway, I trained that way for about 18 months, entirely on Nautilus machines. Didn't gain a lot of size. And here I am, just turned, I think I was still 17 for a couple weeks there. Because I started that semester at 17, it turned 18 a couple weeks into it. So, I graduated high school at 17. My birthday is in September. So anyway, long story short, I should have been putting on a lot more size and I was training very hard. I was training intensely. But when I switched over 1.5 years later, after I had already competed for the first time, to mixing in more free weights and doing more volume, more different exercises for body parts, and training more frequently, more than 3 times a week. I think I was doing 4 days a week for many, many years. That worked very well for me. I put on within a year, and this is drug-free back then. I wouldn't start steroids for a few more years after this, till I was 27 actually. But once I did that, once I started incorporating more volume and more frequency, I grew. I think I put on 20 pounds within a year of making that change. So that was enough to tell me that this HIT training, as great as Arthur Jones made it sound, and Ellington Darden, and how it was the best way to train, and I did read some Mike Mentzer stuff, I think at some point in that era too. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the most effective system for me. It wasn't the best way for me to train. I did better. I got better results with more volume, still high intensity, but at a higher frequency, training more days a week. So that's why I'm curious. I want to know who out there, this is probably a lot of my regular guys in the live chat that join us on these. Did you try it? Did you give it a fair trial? And did it work well for you? Because I know I have spoken to people that work very well for. I'm just curious what your experiences were with it. That's why we're doing this today. So let's go to the phones. Did HIT training work for you? This isn't Ask Ron. This is Tell Ron. When is Open Masters Olympia? That's all we got. Okay, so the Open Masters Olympia is Sunday. Sunday at, I'll give you the times. Their time, it is, I've written this down. I have it. It's like 9 a.m. Okay. So the schedule for Sunday is noon and 4 p.m. for judging and finals. It's a 2-day show. So at noon and 4 p.m. tomorrow, this is Romania time, which is 7 hours ahead of me on the East Coast. So tomorrow is women's physique, women's bodybuilding, classic physique, wellness, 212. And then Sunday is fitness, figure, men's physique, bikini, and open, the Masters Mr. Olympia. Okay, so finally we got a comment about HIT training. C.H. Zuricato says, if I incorporate HIT training, it's not to make strength gains, it's to use while I'm in a calorie deficit. Yeah, I mean, when you're dieting for a show, when you're doing all this cardio and your calories are down, your carbs are down, a lot of people train more. They start doing way more training, which is the opposite, because your body doesn't have the resources. It doesn't have the calories, doesn't have the carbs. It's not a good situation to put yourself in when you're in that deficit, energy and calorie deficit, to start doing more and more weight training. You're already doing a ton of cardio trying to get shredded for the contest or whatever, but now you're going to do way more sets and reps and train. No, it's a recipe for overtraining. And one thing I do credit the HIT people with, all the 3 most popular systems, Arthur Jones, Mike Mentzer, and Dorian Yates, is they really brought a lot of attention to the concept of overtraining, which until Arthur Jones came along in the very early 70s, I don't even know if that word existed, if people had ever talked about it. They always thought more was better. They would train like 3-4 days a week, 3-4 hours a day, 6 days a week, some of them 7 days a week. And they didn't really think, maybe this is too much. Maybe my muscles need more time to recover. Maybe my central nervous system needs to recover. So props to them for that. Muhammad Akhtar, HIT training wasn't for me, caused a lot of niggles. Yeah, that's what I found for me with DC training, Dante style. And admittedly, I got into it a little too late in life. I was already in my mid to late 30s. I did it for about a year and a half, the Dante system, DC training. And you have to, it's progressive resistance. You're supposed to add either a little bit more weight or another rep or 2 every workout. It's progressive. You have a logbook and you need to make progress. And at that point, I had already started to lose a lot of cartilage in my shoulder. I had chronic inflammation in my elbows, my knees, my lower back had been already jacked up. It's a training system to get stronger every time. You need to have healthy joints. You can't be someone who's always worried about injury, which I was. So I was starting to get a lot of injuries. Let's see, M12. I think the best way of training is to change your training routine each few months, whether it's HIT or split, full body extension, etc. Well, I would say if you're still making progress, don't change a thing. If things are still going well, don't change a thing. It ain't broke, don't fix it. If you've hit a plateau, I would say take a few days off and come back with something different. But if you're still on an upward trajectory, you're making progress, whatever way you're training at that point, don't change it just because, it's been 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I better change it. Now, don't be arbitrary like that. Listen to your body, pay attention to your results. Results are the bottom line. I don't care what anybody says. Whatever way of training works for you, that's all that matters. You can't argue with results. I was talking to my son about this yesterday. I said, if there's someone out there who eats nothing but pizza and donuts and they're shredded, you can't tell them that they're eating wrong, because for them, it's not wrong. It works for them. Would it work for you or me? No, it doesn't matter. It works for them. All right, let's see. That guy 6, moderate high volume, branch Warren style, heavy weights with high volume. If I have a lagging body part, I implement the dawn long touch-up routine. Works for me. Yeah. So he's talking about the dawn long touch-up routine is, if you have a lagging body part, let's say it's arms. My arms have always been the bane of my existence. You would do a few sets for them at the end of every workout, or maybe you can do it at the beginning. But you would do just a little bit for them, touch-up training. So you do a main workout for them, once or twice a week at the most, and then a couple other days a week you would do just a couple exercises for 3-4 sets. A lot of people have reported good results, very good results with that. Our STUV, I actually decreased the volume to HIT approach and maintain the same results. It seems many take Arthur Jones' approach and just add on. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for bodybuilders to not add on. A lot of times when I'm giving someone a routine, I was coaching for a while, I would tell them, don't add anything to this. This is designed with what I feel is the right amount of volume for you, whatever, this and that. Don't add any exercises. Don't do any more sets. Stick exactly to what I've programmed and written out for you. And, still people would be like, they'd talk to me like, well, I felt like I wanted to do a few more sets. We love training. If you love training, and that's another thing about HIT training, for people who really love training, it's kind of hard to just go in there for like 20, 30 minutes and just blast and you're all done. You're like, oh man, I want to enjoy it more. I know it's not supposed to be, but it is fun. This training is fun for me. That's like, I look forward to it. I still look forward to workouts every day. Paul Bartlett, what's up, Paul? Dante is still like 450 pounds. He's a big bastard. I've never met him in real life. He's originally from Massachusetts. He's been in, I think, San Diego, California for like 30 years. Gianluca Madonna, best results for me with basic movements, squat, deadlifts, dumbbells, 3 to 4 workouts a week. Yeah. That's worked for so many people. Just do the basics, work very hard on the basics, get super strong on squats, deadlifts, bench press, barbell row, dips, weighted chins, skull crushers, barbell curls, military press. You can't really go wrong with those. They're time tested. Muscle Machines says, hey Ron, I have to say after training for 10 years, beginners need to train more frequently in high volume. Later in to get bigger, they need more rest days and eat much more, especially on rest days. Yeah, it's been said that beginners should train more often because they're really not strong enough to cause a lot of damage to the muscles at the cellular level. They're not strong enough to really tear up the muscle fibers where they would need days and days or a week to recover. But as you get bigger and stronger, you are capable of doing more damage every time you train the muscles. You're breaking up more muscle fibers because now you're bench pressing 400 pounds instead of 100 pounds. Just a crazy example. XP Gamer, there's no perfect training method or split. Bodybuilding training is like an experiment. Every individual needs to train and figure out what works best for them in terms of volume, frequency, and intensity. Yeah, I say that all the time XP, because I really believe that is that some people are going to thrive on a lower volume approach with more rest days. And if you give them more volume and you have them train more often, they'll start shrinking. Other people are going to blow up on more volume. We're all different. We all have different metabolisms, recovery ability, activity levels, temperament. There's so many factors that go into it. That guy 6, have you always trained push-pull legs? No. Or did you train the traditional bro split in the past? I did the bro split for probably 25 years maybe. I'd say by the time... Yeah, I'd say from like 1989. I've only been doing push-pull now for about, I think, 4 years. So 1989 to 20, what would that be, like 2019? All those years I did the bro split. I would do 4 days a week. I always had a leg day. I always had a back day. And then I would either do chest. Chest would always be either with biceps or triceps. And shoulders would always be with either biceps or triceps. So, and for many, many years, I took weekends off. It would be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Those were my training days. I did that for at least 20 years. So maybe it would be like chest and biceps, legs, day off, shoulders and triceps, back, then I took the weekend off. So that's how I trained for many, many years. I did very well on it. I've only really, I do the push-pull legs now, and I think it's a great way to train, but it's not the only way to train. There's no only way to train. M12, did you change your training routine based on the steroid cycle you take? No, it had nothing to do with that. It was just, I just like the idea of doing all the pushing muscles together, all the pulling muscles together, and having a leg day. It just really appealed to me. And that way, every body part got hit every fourth day or so, like twice every 8 days. If you're doing push-pull legs off, push-pull legs off, everything gets hit twice every 8 days, because I don't think once a week is enough for a body part. I think that's just not frequent enough. And I think maybe twice a week can be too much for a lot of people. So twice every 8 days, it's worked well for me. And you can always put more rest days in there. Nobody says you have to do push-pull legs all 3 days in a row. You can put a rest day in whenever you want when you're doing push-pull legs. That's the standard way, is push-pull legs off over and over again. But you could do push-pull off, legs, push off. You know what I'm saying? You could break that up any way you wanted, really. That guy 6, did you feel you got better results with push-pull legs or bro splits? Well, by the time I got to push-pull legs, it was only 4 years ago, and I've already been training 36 years, so I'm an awful example. I'm not making gains anymore. I'm really just very lucky. I'm just fighting to maintain at this stage. I'll be 54 in, less than a month now. September 21st. Mark your calendars. I'll be 54 in a couple weeks, and I haven't gained any new muscle. I think the only way I could gain new muscle at this point, if I blasted like insane amounts of drugs, and I'm not going to do that. And I don't know how much muscle I would even realistically put on. I could probably do enough drugs to take, 10 years off my life, or another 10 years off my life, for like 3 or 4 or 5 more pounds of muscle. There's no way at this stage of my life, after 40 years of training, I'm going to be putting on like 20 pounds of muscle. It's just not going to happen. And I hate to break it to you guys, but if you've been training and gaining for like decades, you're pretty much as big as you're going to get. You're not going to get much bigger than that, no matter what you do. We all have a set genetic limit. And yeah, had I pushed a lot more drugs, I'd probably be a little bigger than I am now. I don't think I'd be like, Ronnie Coleman size. No, not at all. Mark Smith used Mentor heavy duty in the mid-'80s, worked great, won state championships. 90s did blood and guts, won regional title, and placed top 6 in Master Nationals. Worked better for me than high volume. Wow. Yeah, so the Mentor heavy duty, when I looked into it, he had you doing 2 work sets. And if you're following the way he prescribed it, everything was 6 to 8 reps. Every exercise, whether you're doing a press for chest, whether you're doing a squat, it was always 6 to 8 reps. That's an issue I had with Mentor, was I don't think that's enough reps for most people. It's not enough time under tension. Yeah, it's going to force you to train very hard. The weight's going to be super heavy if you can only go to 8 reps at the most with every last bit of effort. But that's very, very heavy. That's going to put a lot of strain on your joints, your tendons, your ligaments. That's an issue I had, was I didn't take enough. I didn't cycle heavy and light training over the years. I was always heavy, especially my 20s and 30s. Especially my 20s, I would do like sets of 3, 4, 5 reps a lot. I did that a lot just for ego, because I'd be like, well, I want to dip. I want to see if I can press the 140s or the 150s. Yeah, I could get like 4 shitty reps with them, but I should have been doing 110s or 120s for like 8, 10, 12 good, really good controlled reps. You live and learn. Let's see. But congratulations, Mark. I'm glad to hear it worked well for you. Ahmed Labib, as I get older, high volume works better to sustain strength. It's the first thing you lose with age. Paul Bartlett. Yeah. Paul's always talking. Paul, I love your Instagram posts. Very, very informative. He's always pushing realism on people. I liked his last post. You can't out-train a shitty diet, because a lot of people now eat like shit and they think, I'll just take more gear and this and that, and it's going to make up for it. No. That guy 6. Seth Ferrocci made a video on push-pull legs versus bro splits. He said PPL works good for him now as a busy person, but when he was IFBB Pro looking to put on as much size as possible, bro split worked. I don't know why it would work any better, to be honest. Maybe because of more rest days, or I don't know. It's more rest between body parts when you're on the bro split. If you're doing everything once a week, every body part gets a full week to rest and recover, which honestly, there have been like a few leg workouts in my life, more than a few, where I did need a full week to recover. But I feel that pretty much every body part, at least now, it's good to go in like 3 days, 4 days at the most. It doesn't need a full week. So what happens if it's fully recovered and you wait like another 3 days? I think you lose a little bit. It's like a 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. That guy, 6 to 8 reps, definitely not enough for legs. Yeah, exactly, not for legs. 6 to 10 reps I found worked well for upper body. More weight I could use for 6 to 10 reps on upper body, more size I put on. You'll also talk to people. I've talked to a lot of people who do higher reps, like for upper body, 12 to 15, 15 to 20, and they've gotten great results, better results. Some people, maybe it's a muscle fiber makeup, maybe they have more slow twitch muscle fiber, but they do put on more size with higher reps. Some people thrive on lower reps. We're not all the same. We're not. Michael Rood, R-O-O-D. For the first time after many years of training, I've slowed down my pace on the reps. It's intense, and the DOM is incredible. Delayed. You mean the muscle, the delayed soreness? DOM is incredible because of more time under tension. I had to lower the weight, though. Yeah, that's another good thing I think Arthur Jones really brought to light was good form. I don't think until then anyone put like a number on it. He would have you do 2 seconds up, 4 seconds down. That's a long time. But he wanted you to emphasize the negative because a lot of people would just drop it. They weren't controlling the negative. So to say 2 seconds up, 4 seconds down, that was a good way to make people really, they had to control the weight. They had to really get that negative component of the rep and make the most of it because they have a number in their head. They got to count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4. That's a long way down. FR made the most gains on Dorian split with work though. I've transitioned to Mentor's HIT routine, a bit adjusted 3 days a week, make some gains, but I enjoy Dorian split more on gear. Yeah, Dorian would do more exercises per body part. A lot of the Mentor stuff, it would be like a superset. You do like a superset of lateral raises and then presses, a superset of leg extensions and leg press. But it wasn't a lot of different exercises. You weren't like hitting the muscle from, for chest, for example, I think all he had you do for chest was a pec fly and a press. And dips were in there too, so you could count that as a chest exercise. But there were like no incline. No, he did have you do barbell incline in one routine I saw. But you know what I'm saying? The bro split will have you do, like for back, maybe like 6 different exercises, where a Mentor style routine, you'd probably just do like 2 exercises for back. Because you're doing half, he was doing half the body every time. It was like, I can't remember the exact breakdown, but it was just 2 days of training. I want to say like one day it was like back, shoulders, back, maybe it was like back, biceps, and legs, and the other day was I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. It was only 2 days of training, and you had to cram everything into those 2 days, all the body parts. Let's see, Ricky Murray. I've always done 12. Never really tried anything else for some reason. The reps, if it worked for you, if 12 reps works for you, why would you change? Like I said, if something's working for you, there's no reason to change. It doesn't matter if someone says, "Oh, that's not right." Well, it's right for you. Maybe it's not right for them. So who cares? You do you, as they say these days. That guy 6, I train traditional bro split, but on Fridays when I train arms together, I hit weighted pull-ups, weighted dips as my mass builder, so I'm already getting additional back and chest work. Yeah, it's interesting. I think both Mentor and Jones agreed that one of the very best bicep exercises you could do was like a very close grip pull-up, like your hands touching. Or they used to do, you can hear that squeak, my dog got a new toy. They used to do like these real slow negatives. They'd get into the chin up position and then they'd lower it for like, I think 30 seconds. Maybe it was 60 seconds. But I remember doing it back in the day. It was so hard. And I was much stronger on pull-ups back then. I was very strong on pull-ups, but still to do like a 30-second negative on a chin up, oof, damn, that was rough. Can you give a flex, A Torres? Didn't I just? Yeah, there's my flex. You'll never see me put the arm up. You'll never see this arm ever. Oh, this arm sucks. I hate this arm. Anyway, damn you. Did you train with Dorian? I didn't train with Dorian. Dorian put me through a leg workout. He was training, but he was just effing around. He wasn't really having a very tough, serious workout. He was making sure I got one. So yeah, that was 2010. I went to Birmingham, UK, the only time I've been to the UK. So I went there for 2 reasons. I went there to go to Temple Gym, which is gone now, to have Dorian put me through a workout. Giles took pictures. I have them on my Facebook album. We had a video that was on MD. And then I went to the Body Power Expo, which was still in its early stages back then. But yeah, the Dorian leg workout they put me through took about 30 minutes, and my legs were killing me for like a week. And the next 2 days I had to be at that Body Power Expo walking around, and my legs were just, luckily there weren't stairs or anything. It was just flat, but still, I was like, my legs just touching them was like, ow, ow, ow. Michael Rood, Mentor didn't practice when he preached, did a lot more than he claimed. It's a gimmick. He was selling. No professional or serious bodybuilder trains HIT. Yeah, I don't know. I always heard that. Like I heard, even like that Colorado experiment with Casey Viator when he was only, what was he, like 20 or 22 or something back in the 70s. He had lost a ton of muscle, stopped training for like close to a year, I believe. He went down to like 170 pounds, which for him was small because he was a naturally big, rugged, husky guy, very, very stocky mesomorph. So Jones, I think it was like a 30-day experiment. I think they only did a total of like 40 minutes a week of training. It was like maybe it was like 3 20-minute workouts a week, just a few sets. And they put all his muscle back on in that time. But I heard that he was also doing more like extracurricular training on top of that, secret training, like, after the Nautilus workouts that Jones was putting him through, he would go and do his normal, 2 hours of chest, 2 hours of back, 2 hours of legs, whatever the case may be. Paul Bartlett, I know this isn't a political forum. Political. I'm like a political moron. He says the winner of the GOP debates is Nick Walker. You mean Nick Walker, the bodybuilder? He's not running for president, is he? I mean, I'll vote for him, but... Raymond Jones says, no current gurus preach HIT training. No, I mean, the only one that's close is Dante. What's Dante's last name? I know this, but... DC training, which, he doesn't really promote it or anything. It promotes itself, and the people who practice it keep passing it around. It's been around for a good 20 years now. But yeah, none of the pros train that way or anything. I think it's just because most of us love training so much. We don't want to go in there for 15 minutes just like 3 times a week and be out, We love training hard. I love intensity and going beyond failure. I love all that. But, especially for those of us who drive a ways to go to a really good gym, my Bayshore Athletic Club is my gym. And it's, depending on traffic, it's like 20, 30 minutes away. It's not super far away, but time is money. You're going to drive like 30, you're going to drive an hour to train for 20 minutes? I don't know. Do that at home. What time we got? Oh boy. Yeah, I'm going to have to wrap it up soon, guys. Like everything else in life, the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle, HIT versus high volume. FR says, yeah, there's a point where you got to find a sweet spot where this isn't enough training and this is too much training. And I think it does vary from individual to individual, which is why I think everyone should try various styles. Lower volume, higher volume, lower frequency, more rest days, less rest days. Try as many different training styles as you can. You're going to find at least 1 or 2 that work very well for you, that you enjoy, and you have to enjoy it. If you're dreading, if you're not looking forward to your workouts, you're not really going to give it your all. You're going to start making excuses to skip workout stuff. You have to enjoy your training. And I'm not saying it should be easy, not at all. We like to challenge ourselves. I love to push myself in the gym, even at my advanced stage and all banged up. Michael Rood, fun fact, Dorian wanted to do more than 1 set for back, and Mike got really pissed. Oh, I believe that. It's funny, Mike, I never met Mike. I was around him for a while. I went to Gold's Gym Venice for most of 1991. I was a member, and I used to drive. I lived like a good 30, 40 minutes east of there at the time. But I still would drive to Venice because I was like, oh my God, Gold. I was 21 years old. Like, I got to go to Gold's Venice. It's the Mecca. And it was amazing back then. This is 1991. So many pros trained there back then. It was awesome. It was like walking into a magazine. Yeah, what the hell was my point with that? Yeah, so Mike was a trainer there. He was training people there. He was still alive. And I always wanted to like go up and say hi, but he was very intimidating. I never saw him smile. He was very serious. I wouldn't say he was like a mean mug. I don't think he was like giving dirty looks, but there was nothing welcome or inviting. There was nothing that said, come on over. He wasn't like that. He wasn't really like a outgoing guy. I'm not saying he was rude or anything, but if he was, especially he was with clients, which he was most of the time, I was like, I'm not going to bother this guy. And I never did. And then he died and I never got to meet him. That guy, 6, like Branch Warren said in an interview, for me, I tried lower volume. I like training, so 45 minutes wasn't enough for me. Heavyweights work, high intensity work, so I'm a double up. Yeah. Did you do meth with Mike? Just kidding. No. I did meth once by accident. I thought it was cocaine. Turned out to be meth. I was up for 3 days. This is a long time ago, but still, it was a bad experience. Yeah. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was having a heart attack. That guy 6, Branch trained everything once a week, but the amount of volume he did and the intensity he put out would have anyone sore for minimum 6 days. Yeah, if you really, that's the thing about the bro split, is if you're using so many exercises and you're annihilating a body part, yeah, it's going to need more time. It might need a full week to recover if you've just destroyed it like that. But if you're doing a more moderate approach, not as many sets, not as many exercises, you won't need like a full week. Anyway. Yeah, I got to wrap it up because I got to walk Branch, and then Christian's going to come home, and I got to go back to the gym and put him through legs. He likes me to train him on leg day, especially. He likes for me to spot him on squats so he can try more weight and stuff. Good, my kid's he's a good boy. Anyway, that's it, guys. If you have more comments, tell us some Sound Factory stories. That'll be another video. I do have a couple good Sound Factory stories. Yeah, that was my spot back in the day. So yeah, leave some comments here in the comment section. I'll get back to him and respond. I love your feedback. Love talking to you guys. That's why we do these live. This was not an ask Ron. It was a tell Ron. It just depends on how I feel. Supersets, drop sets, giant sets, says Melvin Mungo. Thanks for the session, man. Yeah, you also have to listen to your body. There's some days, you really shouldn't be in there for 2 hours, and you shouldn't be doing like 30 sets per body part. Those days, cut back. Maybe you can do lower volume some days, higher volume other days, depending on your energy levels, how much sleep you've gotten. Because, not everyone has the ideal bodybuilding life set up where you can just eat, sleep, train. People have jobs, sometimes more than one job, kid, school, all kinds of responsibilities that might take away your ability to sleep 8 to 10 hours every night, get 5 to 6 good meals every day. So situationally, you might want to pull back on your volume and your frequency at times to reflect that, just so you're getting enough recovery between workouts. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. And remember, please turn on notifications. We will be doing reports. I'll be watching the pay-per-view and wrapping up the results. And we have our man, AJ Robert Kelly, on the ground in Cluj, Romania. He's going to be our correspondent, giving us some really good coverage. We appreciate AJ from the Masters Olympia weekend. And all the information is on mastersolympia.com. Anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. Have an awesome weekend. Check out the Masters Olympia. It should be a good show. See how these older veterans do, how they look. And that's it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.